Afternoon, everyone. I'll now call the meeting to order. Happy St. Patty's Day. Everybody's got a bit of Irish today, I guess. So Rhonda's the only one got a green shirt on. I never thought it would. Oh, yeah, you do too. I'm partly colorblind, so I'll use that as the excuse. Anyway, welcome, everyone. Anyway, we'll get right into the agenda here. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interests? General nature thereof? None noted. Thank you. Could I have approval of the agenda as presented? Councillor McHugh, Councillor Curd, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Now I ask for a motion to approve the minutes of December the 16th, 2025. Any detecting errors, omissions, or questions regarding those minutes? Moser, Mr. Keating, move it? No questions. Okay, move it, okay. Seconder, please. Mr. Cruz? All in favor? Carried, thank you. We have no public meetings. Well, this is a public meeting, but public input. Don't see any general members of the public, and presentations none, delegations none, staff reports and other decision items. Well, we got some things to talk about down below here. Correspondence for committee decision. I didn't see any in the agenda. Was there anything come in after? Okay, we'll get right into new and other business. And I know there was a couple of different things when Andrew was sending things around, and I entertained the Alto train proposal. Mostly it's the secondary route that they're talking about, and I'm going to ask Rhonda here to maybe wear two hats today. I would ask her to also maybe bring forward the changes that went on last week regarding conservation authorities. And then maybe she can bring us up to date, because the board last week dealt with it last Thursday, the Alto train proposal, and I think you attended a meeting in Peterborough. We may have some more insight into what there has been. I believe there's another one coming up in Sterling next week, is it? It was the 24th or something in that neighborhood that people can still attend that's in this area. So anyway, without further ado, maybe Rhonda, I'll let you come forward. Whatever one you want to talk about first, because you had quite a bit of information on it, and we can entertain any questions or whatever. And I know a lot of it's still up in the air about final decisions or whatever, but I'll leave it at that, and the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. I thought I'll go by your agenda and start with the Alto conversation. So, as you're well aware, there's two proposed routes for Alto right now. As Chair Elliott said, I was at an environmental roundtable in Peterborough a couple of weeks ago. It was attended by Quinte Conservation, ourselves, Autonomy Conservation, and Kawartha Conservation. So I brought my little maps and outlined a whole bunch of contentious areas environmentally, and some of our own lands. Oh, sorry, I'll speak louder. There was I brought some maps to show them where there were environmentally significant areas, like provincially significant wetlands and areas of scientific interest, also some of our own properties, and Quinte Conservation did the same. And there was a bunch of discussion about all the studies that they want to do. So what we decided at the end of the day was that we would share our information with them to help them make good decisions. So I brought that back to the board, and the board on the spot on Thursday came up with a resolution. And that was that Lower Trent Conservation staff circulate correspondence to Alto indicating that the Lower Trent Conservation Board of Directors does not support the proposed southern route for the high-speed rail. In consideration for the potential of negative impacts to agricultural lands, environmentally sensitive lands, roads, and emergency services. And that Alto consider the existing railway corridor for the proposed high-speed train if it is demonstrated to be financially viable. And that LTC staff share environmental data and information to Alto. So it's pretty basic. We had a lot of discussion at the table, and Chair Allier can talk about that. Most of our all of the board members were in favor of this resolution. They came up with it themselves after a great deal of discussion. That southern route that is proposed, of course, it won't be the 15 to 30, kilometer swath that's there. But if it's within any of that southern corridor, that affects this area and its agricultural. You all know what the issues are, farms being cut in two and that sort of thing, and access and that sort of thing. So that's why we came up with that resolution. So.
And I think we also mentioned about the access as far as emergency vehicles and only certain areas you'll be able to get over it or under it because there'll be no surface crossings or anything. And but I think the big thing is what you said today again, is what you said up there. The study area is 15 to 20 kilometers wide. That's 30. Not the, or 30, I think it was. And it's just not the width of the two rails that eventually be there. But I think they're looking at trajectories where they'll try to keep it in as straight a line as possible. My understanding, and maybe you can correct me, I think where they're going to start, if it is built, it'll veer off at Havelock and then go southeasterly somewhat towards Kingston in a straight line, from what I've read and seen in the information that I've had eventually. But
they're not talking about that route specifically. They're talking about from Ottawa through Havelock to Peterborough. That's the northern route. And the other route.
But I mean the southern route, from what I've seen in the farm papers that I've been seeing, that's the trajectory. And I know you said the other night they're trying to stay north of as much the Trent River as possible so they don't have so many river crossings and water crossings. And that's why I'm thinking I don't even think Quinte West will get touched. You'll either have to go north of Sterling, Sterling Rodden, but the village of Sterling instead of south, because even if it does take the northeastern portion of Sydney Township, you're still down into that other corridor. But I think they're going to be looking at hills and the least, I guess, terrain that they got to deal with, but to build it, but if they build it. But.
The furthest southern part of that southern route that goes through Quinte West, it would go through Murray Marsh and all those great big provincially significant wetlands, and it would be a nightmare to build. And I said, if you're intending on going that far south, you're going to be crossing the river at least 7 times. It's not something that seems feasible to me at all. So, and you're right about the roads, having roads end, and we don't know how often they're going to have crossings. We just don't know. And there'll be wildlife crossings, but that wouldn't be the same. They haven't got that far yet. I'm not sure when they're going to release. I'm sorry, I don't remember the date. And they said they're going to release this segment to the public. But the first route is from Quebec to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So,
which we somewhat supported in principle. I think the board did the original one where it parallels Highway 7 pretty much all the way from Ottawa. Pretty much. I don't know about the other parts into Quebec because that's none of our business or bailiwick there. But I know I've been following the news, and there's not one municipality east of here. I know Tandonega, and I think Belleville's still waffling a little bit. They haven't made a decision, but it sounds like they're going to vote against it. I know Frontenac, everyone east, other than the city of Kingston, and now they're kind of haggling because they think the proposed station is going to be too far north of the city or something. And but there's not one rural, say township or municipality that's supporting it that I've seen just lately. So it'll be interesting to see if they pay attention or whatever. And I know they can go in and just certainly take it. That's for sure if they so wish. But there's not a lot of support there. And really, it's not going to benefit us or a lot of the areas here because they aren't going to be stopping. So it's just a passageway in a sense, you'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we have any questions from the committee on that in that regard? I don't know. I think I mentioned to Andrea maybe the other day when I put this on. I don't know whether we want to pass a motion here to pass, and I know our minutes go to council, and I know our council is going to be talking about it. I see it in the agenda. I'll leave it up to your best wish here. Brian, do you want to make a comment on it? Whether we should, as a committee, make a motion to either support or whatever?
Through Mr. Chair, definitely that would be an option for the committee. But as you said, there is a draft motion on agenda for council to consider tomorrow evening. So by the time the motion from this committee gets to council, that will already have passed. But certainly, if you want to make a motion for the record, this would be the best time to do it.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking, the number of meetings we have for this committee, I think the next one will be June, and then the last one will be September of this year. So I'm not that we can't deal with anything there, but anyway, it's something to consider. I'll leave it up to committee how you want to deal with it, or what your thoughts are. Councillor McHugh?
I'd be more than happy to make a motion that we put our saying that we're not in favor of the southern route. This also, I'd be more than happy to put that in, and hopefully tomorrow night when it comes up at council, we can mention, if we get the support here, that the Agricultural Committee recommends turning it down as well.
Okay.
It goes right through my house.
Well,
I changed my mind now.
and I've kept that motion on my phone that you sent through for all of us to take to our councils and that if I need it. And I know you got to print it out there, but I'm going to have this tomorrow night, or I can pass it along to staff so they have a copy of what we decided that last week. So, okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any further question or comment? Okay, well, we have a seconder, but thank you for the extra support. Councillor Carr, do you want to make a comment or question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yes, I will be supporting the motion. Thank Rhonda for her short presentation. I think that all of these points are very salient, and we are a farming community, and this project would have great impacts that would last generations. So I think, when I look at the list of, local or provincial folks in the politics space, or organizations such as OFA, Premier Ford now, MPs Millette, Shelby Cramp Newman, conservation authorities now, everyone is opposed to the southern route. And I actually just double checked, and I believe Belleville Council at their last meeting, I think, opposed the southern route too. I found an article. So it just seems like nobody who is affected here, regardless of party or, provincial government, whatever, is in support of this. It seems like, there are a lot of benefits, I think, to modernization of infrastructure that is very important, and certainly, decarbonization, but there just doesn't seem to be any benefits to hang your hat on for all of the costs that will be borne by so few for the benefit of, the nation as a whole, but especially in a community with, past history with federal expropriation and kind of the the challenges that came with that previously here in Quinte West. It's a tough issue, so happy to support this. I don't think it's right for the community.
Thank you very much. If no other further discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the motion? Carried unanimous. Thank you. I guess the other thing we didn't mention, and I know it has been mentioned too before we leave the topic, is that we look at enhancing via rail somehow down in the southern corridor, and as most of us knew, it sat around the table and our staff. For years, we've had to keep a third rail option open along any construction or bridge construction along the main line out here, and to me, it would make sense to maybe put that third rail there and get a better via rail service, because the biggest population is right along this so-called lakeshore, if you want to put it that way. Not that I want to befriend any of the, or make the northern people mad at us, but it seems to me that there could be a better service enhanced in that regard in my mind. But whether or not they'd look at it, I know they said they couldn't parallel it with a 401, although I think Doug Ford the other day is pushing for that, and then I think we've had some other reports that they should parallel it with the tracks that are already there, which I think it's be kind of tough probably too. But anyway, that's just some of the other verbiage that's out there, I guess, on some of the ideas. So,
maybe Premier Ford could include the trains under the tunnel under the 401, which would negate the fact he'd be cutting farms in half.
You never know. Okay, Rhonda, if you would also like to maybe fill on the board about, or the committee in regards to what changes took place with the conservation authorities, or the new proposed conservation authorities, I'll put it that way.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So we were told last November that 36 conservation authorities would be going down to 7 consolidated regions after a month or so of, I guess it was 2 months of consultation. The province has come back now with, they made an announcement last week. It's not fully legal yet, but the number of CA regions will now be 9 instead of 7, with Thunder Bay or the Lakehead being on their own. And there were modifications to at least 3 other proposed regions, one of them being ours. So the Eastern Lake Ontario region, which is what we will be in, will be an amalgamation of 7 conservation authorities. It'll be ourselves, Kawartha, Otonabee, the Crow, Ganaraska, Quinte, and Cataraqui. Prior to this, Cataraqui was with the St. Lawrence River group. They have been withdrawn from that and put in to our group, and the Central Lake Ontario Conservation Authority is now going with Toronto. So that's most of Durham region is being folded into the Toronto region, and it will be called Central Lake Ontario. Consolidation will be effective as of February 1st, 2027. They have announced that there'll be $3 million a year to I'm going to start again. The Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency, called OPCA, which we will call the agency because it's easier. It was announced last November that it would be given $20 million to be expended to initiate this agency. And it was announced last week that they will get an additional $3 million a year to help with the transition. We do not know which conservation authorities will be benefiting from some of that money, but I imagine it would be the smaller ones who don't have much technology and that sort of thing. We're hoping we're going to get some, but can't say for sure at this point. The minister said that there'd be no reduction in frontline staffing. What he actually said in the press was there'll be no job losses. However, the province expects to find efficiencies in administration. So that is not true. And we had a meeting yesterday with MPP Brise, and I asked him to ask the minister to stop saying there won't be any job losses. The CA Act amendments are going to be released before the end of March. It may be in the omnibus budget bill, which would be, which wouldn't be a surprise. I don't think it'll be an act on its own. So the expectation is CA Act amendments will allow this consolidation to happen and will change a lot of aspects of how we operate now, including our board. So right now we have municipal representation from 7 municipalities at Lower Trent with 10 members. And the 10 members are based on population. So 2 from Quinte West, 2 from Brighton, 2 from Trent Hills, and the rest get 1. Under this new model, single-tier municipalities will have direct representation, so Quinte West will have a member. Lower-tier municipalities, which is all the other 6 in our watershed, will have representation through regional or county representation. So all of Northumberland County, we will have, I'm not sure how many reps, perhaps one, perhaps two. Depends on where the ministry puts the population limits. So it'll be changed from what it is right now, for sure. Anyway, so that's changing. So the board members will not necessarily, they won't be appointed from those smaller municipalities. They will be at a county level appointments. So they're mandating board size limits. I don't think that's going to be an issue for us. 15 to 25 maximum. I think in the highly populated areas, say around the Niagara area, that they're talking about between 15 and 25. They haven't defined it yet fully. And they may limit the number of representatives per municipality, again, based on population. And they say the new board for the region will be in place by February of 2027. So prior to any of this fun stuff happening, there will be an appointment of a project executive to lead for a 24-month term to oversee the transition. And there is a transition committee that will be made up of all of the general managers and a member of our board of directors. In our case, it will be our chair, Sherry Hamilton from Crammy. So each CA will get 2 members on the transition committee. And the transition committee will be dissolved upon consolidation, so on February 1st of 2027. There's a lot of things that aren't spelled out as to what this transition committee will be doing and who is going to be the appointment. We don't know if it's going to be someone local, or we know it's going to be a provincial appointment, but as to who it is, we really don't know. I don't want to speculate on how it's going to work, but I know the people who I'll be working with on that transition committee, and I know we'll try and do the best for our area. The worst part about this whole thing is local representation will be taken away, especially from small municipalities. And it was one of the major issues that was brought up. The minister said there were 14,000 comments brought in on this through the ERO and through their consultation in person sessions. And I don't, that was the greatest challenge. So as far as our board members are concerned, they haven't met that challenge of local representation. And they are talking about setting up watershed councils, starting with like 1 per region. There may be more, to have groups of interested stakeholders such as agricultural stakeholders, First Nations, development, and recreation to help guide local interests. There may be more than one watershed council per region, but this is new and who knows how long that's going to take to set up. But so that's it in an abridged version. So at the end of March, we'll have a lot more information when the CA Act comes out, and it will have a better idea on hopefully sizes of the boards and timings. And so I expect CA Act to change quite a bit on how to establish a CA, how to dissolve a CA, and membership. That's going to be completely changed. So stay tuned, and then regulations after that. So.
And I think the board mentioned the other day, and you don't know yet if they'll be consolidating offices or if will be still local access or what. I think that's probably going to be looked at down the road. And I know you said they were looking at assets too, over and above efficiencies that you got through into the works as far as staffing and what have you. So
currently, our operations are as normal, and frontline staff and the people have access to are still there. They're working hard. They're going to be there. The offices are not closing. But with any consolidation, we don't know how long down the road before they start considering things like that. Access is very important, and we realize that. So staff are, as I say, operating as as always. What was the other? Sorry, what was the other thing you mentioned?
It was just the office of consolidation, or possible, I guess, down the road, and then the staffing and whatever. I guess the main ones, they keep saying there's going to be job loss, but you and several other the managers, unless they reassign you someplace, certainly them positions will be gone, and there'll be one main one, I would presume.
I presume so.
Appointment, or however they select them. But anyway, that'll be.
That's coming, that'll be news coming forward. So, yeah, no, we don't know exactly, but I imagine most of the, if the managers are reassigned, there's going to be a consequence for that as well, to the province if they're doing the reassigning. So, we shall see.
You have a question, Councillor McHugh?
Yes, I did, but actually, you asked most of it for me, and Rhonda thankfully answered most with regards to the physical presence of the buildings. Assuming down the road to find efficiencies, to close these, where do you see in the 7 regions, in the Eastern Lake Ontario Centre region, where do you think the seat of power will be? Obviously, they're going to have one office where the king or queen is going to sit. Any idea where that might be?
No, I do not.
And that's a concern. I'm sure we all have this, not just that, but the closing of local offices. It makes it harder and harder for people to get to see you if they physically have to go to fill out a form or do something. I know a lot of people do things online, but I like dealing face to face if I'm dealing with you, to be honest with you. And that's going to be tougher for people if they have to start traveling for the distances, to do the business with you. So yeah.
Yeah,
I guess we'll.
Yeah, currently, they're not planning on closing anything.
The devil's in the details.
Devil's in the details,
yeah.
and we've seen it happen in other consolidations and amalgamations, but right now, everything's going to stay status quo.
Councillor Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yes, Rhonda just alluded to, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting also, I'm kind of reminded of the experience going through with the public health and, different communications coming out speaking to what should be happening in terms of, efficiencies or jobs, and then communications from the organization itself, newly consolidated, about service levels and staffing, and there being some pretty significant incongruencies. Yeah, I appreciate the updates. Obviously, you don't have the crystal ball on this, but appreciate you and staff doing all you can to minimize any fallout for residents of Quinte West.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I guess in regards to our staff over here, certainly we don't want to lose local contact if we're planning issues and road issues that we have to deal with the local conservation authority, instead of, if eventually down the road you have to travel to some big center or something, it's not going to be as handy. I guess you folks have any comment on that, maybe Brian?
Yeah, really just to reinforce what's been said, has been said already, too many things that we don't know at this point in time. Always feels like when it comes to, certainly over the last couple of years, legislation changes, you get a piece of the picture, but you're waiting for the rest of the picture to be exposed. And I hope not, but I feel that that perhaps there's also going to be some changes to the regulation piece as well. Perhaps not, but not sure. I think at this point in time, it's all about what does efficiency really mean, and we all know that it might look good on paper, but how it works functionally on a day-to-day basis. And we all know, particularly when we're working with planning issues and information is flowing around different agencies or even within the departments, it's not the time that it takes for somebody to do the work and do the analysis, it's the time that is spent going from one body to the next. And it feels like that might be elongated if even if there's a local office, if those decisions, those judgments have to go up to a higher level in order to come back down to the recipient, that's going to take time. If we remember that a lot of this was driven by frustrations around lack of standardization, so it feels like things are going to have to be kind of run by head office, if you like, before they get disseminated out, and that's all going to take time. And meanwhile, we're trying to speed things up. So it feels like too much unknown. I'm not buying it to this point in time that is going to prove efficiencies. I guess we'll find out.
You have any comments, Matt?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, having a local presence and access has been fantastic over the years. Again, as things grow and people change, we probably lose that, and again, it reflects efficiencies in that.
Thank you very much. Committee, do you have any further comments of Rhonda, or in this regard? It's still in the game playing out there, and we don't know what the end result is, as has been said. So, but go ahead.
No, I just, like Mr. McHugh, you answered her. I was concerned about no layoffs and why we'd be amalgamating if there was no layoffs. So it didn't make sense to me either, but everybody's answered that question, so I'm all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Mrs. Grills, any? Okay. All right, well, thank you, Rhonda. We'll certainly call on your expertise probably in June. We'll probably know more by then, and I'm sure it'll come out at the end of the month, as they're supposedly to table this, and I guess they don't start setting until next week in the legislature, so at least that I think when we had the meeting with Mr. Alsop here, he indicated that too, but he also indicated that being with their majority, things would move very quickly, so
Yeah.
I think there will be not too lengthy debates on it from the sounds of things, so, but I think that's already been made up behind the scenes, and they're just dishing out little bits now and again, but anyway, we'll stay tuned, but thank you. Hope we didn't work you too hard today, so, yeah. Okay, thanks for coming. Okay, now we'll move on. Item B, I believe, Ms. Grills, you wanted to talk about the Wall of Fame.
Well, I just, last year, someone mentioned after the Wall of Fame that Quinte West did not know anything about it. Well, it was sort of a four-county thing. It's Prince Edward, Lennox, Northumberland, and Hastings County. And anyone could nominate someone for that, to go in to the Wall of Fame. The Wall of Fame is at Sterling. And if you go in, it's latest technology. You just have to touch the screen, and it'll bring up whoever you want and see and everything else. And anyway, I do know that there's lots of people here in Quinte West that you probably don't get the information because it's not coming from Hastings County to you. So I thought, well, I'd bring it to you directly. And anyway, you have nominations close the end of May, the 31st of May. But you're more than welcome. And I give Andrea there a little card where you can go online, and it tells you everything right there online. All the information you need if you want to nominate someone. Okay? So I just think that Quinte West is left out. I haven't seen anyone from Quinte West nominated, and I don't know when.
Just in that same vein, are they going to have another day there? I know last year
Yes.
I attended something along with some other people at the, I think it was a Saturday morning or something at the Farmtown Park. I think it was called Quinte West Day, I believe it was,
Yes.
but. Yeah.
This Wall of Fame is always the third Sunday of September. It's at 1 o'clock. Anyone's allowed to come. The members of Parliament are always there. And anyway, if it's someone that's already passed on, make sure that we are very aware of that, because
I think the last ones I remember nominated was Ron Hamilton, I believe, a few years ago.
okay.
Yeah, Ron and Janet, yeah.
That's probably before I was on this committee,
Yeah.
but anyway, now
Yeah.
that I have to
I know
look
we
after-
attended, as council, we were invited to
Yeah,
go out there. Of course, he was a councillor then, but I think he was the last one I remember that was from Quinte West per se, yeah, yeah.
anyone's allowed, or anyone can come to this.
Yep.
It's really nice.
Yep.
I meant to,
Councillor
Farmtown Park
Yeah.
will be
Councillor
over half full.
Councillor McHugh, you had a question
Yeah, I
or
was just gonna
comment?
say, I'm hoping that we get Ms. Dinner can get this information to the powers that be, get on the Quinte West website, get out there
Yeah.
ASAP, and then go from there.
Yeah, it's on the back of that little card there, the information that tells you everything.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No, it's just 1 o'clock, third Sunday of September. It's always the same day, so anyway, every year it's the same.
And I think the other topic we had was there was still some concern about roadside brushing, I believe.
Yeah.
If you want
Well,
to
that's
talk
just-
about that, we have Matt here to take notes. I imagine they'll be getting that fired up for the spring's work and through the summer
No,
when it
it's-
comes about. And I know Mr. Keating over the time, a few years have had some concerns, so if you want to bring any concerns forward, please do so.
It's just that brusher comes up and they tell us it can't come across the bridge at Glen Ross, the little canal bridge, okay? But it goes up just this fall, it was up in the Oak Hills, it done River Valley Road and everything else. It certainly could have crossed Sager's Bridge and come up through and done the Fairgrounds Road and Anderson Island Road and my road and that. But we've never seen that brusher in, I don't know when. And there's one, Fred knows the spot on my road, where if you drive down the road, you're, if you meet anybody or anything else, your car and everything else is just hitting the brush. But now we've lost some of the brush because the fellow that bought the one piece of property's taken the fence bottom all out. So now there's not near as much brush along that road, but there's still one spot. Anyway, that really needs that brusher or somebody. I
Matt?
don't care, it's the brusher, just come up, cut the darn stuff off.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. No, I think some of this was brought up at the last committee as well. Right now, we're in transition between snow season and pothole season, so crews are fully committed on that right now, but yeah, we will be getting ready for our spring work.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Keating, do you have any comments?
No, not really, and yet maybe. I want to say thanks to getting that road at Crow Road and Hearns Road, that corner. If I got permission to find fault a little bit, the brush back behind was not cleaned up. Like there's a wild plum bushes, and they weren't taken down. There's just trees was taken down with the grapevines that was up through them. I just wonder if could have another look at it. A couple have said that tree that was left is pretty near dead, and it's might better come down. The neighbor that's right, the house right there, said he'd sooner have it down. So I just would wonder if we could talk to that household and ask him what he thought about that. Then go back down around the Crow Road. There's a plum bush, wild plum, and it's right full of grapevines, and it's just at the brink of being able to see around. Everybody, appreciate what's been done, and it's improvement, but the grapevines have still got enough brush there that they can blind it off yet, that's all.
I know we have to be careful with private property too. We've gotten some problems reaching over and which I think the crews thought they were doing a good job and it needed to be done, but the property owner wasn't happy with the outcome, so you're darned if you do and darned if you don't, I guess, in
Well,
some aspects, so, yeah.
Well, this is what I say, if a person was just to talk to that household owner, it's his yard all the way around, and he seems to be, well, he's easy to get along with, but I just wondered if anybody's talked to him and got an idea what he'd like to do. Because if it was cleaned right off and just a little bit of topsoil put down, he would like to cut the grass right up to the road and it would be all clean and kept tidy, like type of thing. It would never have to be redone again, that's the point.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else? Mr. Cruz, you got any concerns? No? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other business to be brought forward, I would entertain, Brian, do you want to make a report, please?
Yeah, just to, Mr. Chair, just to let the committee know, at the last meeting, the committee passed a motion to request council to consider exempting development charge fees for accessory agricultural buildings. Just to let the committee know that has since been to council and has been approved. So development charges will not be charged against agricultural buildings. That does not include the house, by any other buildings within an agricultural operation. Okay.
Yep, that's good, okay. Mr. Girls?
What is the distance between a barn and a house?
Mr. Chair, the same as the length of a piece of string. It really depends on what the barn is, what the capacity of the barn is, and the type of animal. So basically, there's a whole calculation that goes into determining the distance between a house and a barn, whether it's a new barn or a new house. Ideally, if it's a livestock facility that's operational, it can be based on the number of livestock and the type of livestock. So you imagine different types of livestock get different separation distances. It becomes a bit more complicated if the building is not currently housing animals. We would still have to do a calculation, and then we would make an estimate on the type of structure, what type of livestock it's designed for. So hard to give an answer without knowing the specifics of the situation. But if we're provided with the specifics, like where the barn is, where the house is, we could do a calculation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bryan. Appreciate that. I thought of that earlier too, and then I should have wrote it down, but I know that was, I think it was Mr. Brian Cruz that brought that forward last committee meeting there, especially with accessory buildings and stuff like that. And I guess some of the Quonsets that's been built out there that people were concerned with having to pay taxes on that type of building. So, okay, is there any other business to be brought forward? Go around the table. You gentlemen down there, Councilor Card, huh? Ms. Grills? Councilor McHugh? Oh, I'm getting off easy. All right, thank you, staff. Thanks for everyone in your attending today, and thanks for all the information. And at this time, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Keating, Councilor McHugh. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Unanimous. Meeting adjourned.